Hey everyone, Internet PCS book reader here. Today I want to talk about Evening and Weekends by Oisin McKenna. Going back to fiction for a bit after back-to-back non-fiction, this is Evenings and Weekends that someone recommends to me. In the story, a whale got stuck in the Thames and soon become viral news. And as per usual with anything that went viral, it goes through the usual cycle of modern news. At first, the internet meme it, then brands jumped in on the memes and started using them to sell their products. Then someone somewhere started to fundraise to try to help the whale back to the ocean where it belongs. Then that started an online debate from chronically online people who wasted too much time on the internet. Information nowadays travel at a breakneck speed. For example, the news about Mehdi Hassan debate on the fascist channel Jubilee. Mehdi was a reporter for MSNBC, but because he is interested in reporting the truth and MSNBC is not, he quit MSNBC right after they canceled his show and started his own independent news company called ZTO. Because Mehdi liked debates, when he was invited to an episode where he debated 20 extreme right-wing people, he took it not knowing that the extreme part is so extreme that one of them was straight up quoting Nazis and admitting he's a fascist with clap around the room from the other contestant. After the debate, the fascist quickly opened a GoFundMe saying that he got cancelled from his job, but he did not. He's a jobless loser when he went to the debate, and using the virality of the debate, he scammed other fascists to give him money. That is how fast and how much information in our age travel and transform. In all of this, our main character Ed Seymour is just a regular guy who works as a courier, and his job is just delivering items with his trusted bike. Even right now, he is delivering some cakes for a birthday party. But because he is so worried about the news that he is still processing that his girlfriend got pregnant, he decided to take the long route through the beach when he saw the whale for the first time. He thought he was hallucinating, which won't be the first time he's done so he contacted his friend Callum and they met at a pub. But Callum only know one way to comfort someone, so he gave Ed some acid and he took reluctantly because he don't want to make Callum feel bad. Since Ed is not in a good mental health state, he had a bad trip from the acid and it gave him a panic attack. He called the hospital to let them know that he is seeing things like whales stuck on the beach, and that is how we found out that the whale is real. Meanwhile, his girlfriend Maggie is on her last day as a waitress in a restaurant. On her last break from the job, she was chatting with her friend at work about the woman spearheading the campaign to save the whale, a marine biologist that looks so much like Princess Diana that people start memeing her as Princess of Wales, and conspiracy theory that Princess Diana is actually alive and has been camouflaging as a marine biologist all this time. And as Ed said, she is currently pregnant. That's why she's quitting her job because waitressing is not a job with maternity leave privilege. While she is excited about her pregnancy and believes that she and Ed and their child will be fine, she is understandably worried about their financial life as a family. British used to be a country where the poor could have an opportunity in life to be more, but ever since Thatcher changed the trajectory of their life by implementing neoliberal socio-economic politics, life as a working class in UK is really awful because as a distraction from how bad neoliberalism for the economy, one of the government's earliest and ongoing scapegoat is shaming poor people. And with the current state of England where all the assets are hogged by the elites, the more sought you are, the harder it is to live a life in England, so they had to move back to their hometown Basildon in order to be able to survive as a family. Which means that Maggie had to break the news to her childhood friend Phil, who is stuck in London in a 9 to 5 job. Meanwhile, back at Basildon, Phil's mom Rosalind was just diagnosed with breast cancer. Unfortunately for her, it is the type that needs treatment or she'll die. And unfortunately for her, UK healthcare, the NHS, was also one of the things that Thatcher ruined with neoliberalism after constantly defunding and privatization. Its system as a healthcare is barely functioning now, and if Rosalind wanted to get the life-saving treatment she needed, it might took the NHS months or years to start her treatment. That's a long time to wait, time that she might not have. She's already guilty enough as an ex-Catholic and as an Ireland who prefer living in London, a country that has colonized her land and created man-made famine to starve her people, and now her oldest son Callum even want to get her to a paid treatment. Because the current British free healthcare is built purposely to force you to have to pay, but cancer treatment is not cheap and her family did not come from a wealthy background. And to make it worse for her, she was scared to tell her son Phil who lived in London, so she kept putting it away when she called him. She had decided to tell him in person on her scheduled visit to him, but the information reached him anyway. Because of the pressure of poverty, the character started unraveling in bad ways. Ed almost cheated on Maggie and only stopped because Phil walked in on him. To overcompensate for his guilt, he decided to cook a fish at home, waiting for Maggie to come home. Maggie, who is a city girl, dreaded going back to Basildon, so instead of going home, she decided to stay the night at her friend's home doing karaoke night. Callum had to face her mother having cancer and have to somehow pay for the treatment, ran away from home to London to where Ed and Maggie stay for a bit. But because it was only Ed staying at home, he can only deliver the news about the cancer to Ed before he went back home. Ed messaged Maggie about Phil's mom having cancer, and on reading the message, Maggie immediately sent a message to Phil to comfort him. Again, the theme of how quick information moves is there, and it's not just how fast information moves, but also how rapidly it changes from one person to another. By the time the news that Rosalind got cancer got to Maggie, she doesn't even know that Phil did not know. She just thought he's not ready to talk about it yet. Both of them have important things to say to each other after all. Phil about finding Ed almost cheating on her, and Maggie about leaving London because she's pregnant with Ed's baby. But they tiptoe around the topic they wanted to say and instead talk about mundane things like Rihanna or other pop cultures, so at the end of the day, only Maggie got to tell Phil about her pregnancy and leaving London. Phil never got to say his news because he's too afraid to be seen as a snake of a friend, or actually being one, not just perceived as one. And as if his best friend leaving town is not bad enough, when he met with his not boyfriend that is with another boyfriend, Kit told him that he's been evicted by the landlord of the place he's currently staying, so he too had to leave London, maybe forever. Then Rosalind's scheduled visit to Phil came just after two most important person in his life said that they're about to leave him alone in London, and so he blew his mother much too soon before she can deliver the message to him that she has cancer. The story then goes on as the dynamics between the characters shift and transform. They have to unravel both old trauma and new trauma in order for them to grow as a person, to be able to still live and love the people around them. It is a harrowing story that in some parts can be difficult to read. I mean, the whale at the start of the story died of its own way during its rescue mission. If that's not an allegory of the life that us working class have to go through in our day-to-day life now, I don't know what is. But I still recommend this book highly despite or maybe even because of those difficult parts. I like to read feel-good stories like Japan's genre of isekai or healing slice of life that is wholesome and fun, but those stories do tend to either highlight only the middle to upper class society or just ignore the issue that working class people had to endure in their day-to-day life. Because of that, as an art form, it doesn't offer much in history besides escapism. On the other hand, stories like this that depicted the life that people live during a certain period of life often is better than most and turns into a classic and for a good reason. And while the book shows and acknowledges the pressure that late-stage capitalism have on us, the awful realization that people in power would rather distract us with anyone and anything instead of changing the system that keeps the poor as poor so they can benefit the rich. So much so that a lot of people now have to reconsider having kids because it is just not possible for them to live a life where you are raising a child when you can't even have a life without one. But it's not nihilistic at all. Despite everything, it shows us that there are still ways for people to live their life, find love, and be happy. Find something as insignificant as singing in a dirty, dingy pub where no one paid attention to you as you sang your heart out. But for you and for people that know you, know that those small little activities meant more than the world to you. Find people that you care and love, since they, more than anything, is the most important thing for you. If anything, be happy out of spite for people like Reagan and Thatcher that caused the world to adapt the neoliberal hellhole we currently live. Show them that they don't get to take that away from you. I give this a 5. What do you think? Let me know if I missed anything, so leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it. See ya.